When you think of Dying Light, you usually think of all the different types of zombies, most notably the Volatile, and that's what I'm here to talk about today. So these guys can usually be found during the night in game, and they do have a pretty unique design, but that's only in the first game, that is, because yeah, I'm going to be talking about today why I think that the Dying Light 2 Volatiles have an inferior design than the ones in the first game. Alright, so looking at the volatile design from Dying Light 1, you can start with the obvious. Its jaw is split in half like every volatile. And this volatile sort of has a design where its muscle and its bones are exposed, and I think that really adds to it because it's like, oh, when this person was turning, they got all their skin done, and it's creepy, you know? And when you shine a UV light on them, they have this like glow thing that I think is pretty neat. And then there's the sound effects. And the Volatile obviously has its sort of screech thing, which is a pretty cool sound. And then it also has its footsteps, which in the original game they're pretty loud. Not super loud. The Volatile footsteps, you can definitely hear them a lot more than, say, like a normal zombie. But before I actually talk about the design for the Volatile in Dying Light 2, I need to talk about something. So in Dying Light 2, the Volatiles, they sort of work a little bit differently now. You can still see them in like dark zones, and you can see them at night, but they changed it in a way that I really don't like. For starters, you could only see them for a while before they changed it during a chase. Now, if you get a level 3 or 4 chase, you actually got to see Volatiles, which I just think is kind of weird because, like, let's be honest, the chases, they kind of get old after a while, and having to do that to actually see a Volatile, like, at nighttime out in the wild, and I just think that's stupid. But now, they did change it to where you can see Volatiles on the roof sometimes, but if I'm being honest, they need to up the spawns for them because you can go like an entire night without seeing a single Volatile. And I just think that's kind of weird because in Dying Light 2, if you're during the night, like, you can just stay on the rooftops and really not have that much trouble. Where in Dying Light 1, you're sort of sneaking around past the Volatiles, making sure you don't get caught. I think just adding like a bunch more Volatiles to the roofs during night would actually be like so much better for that, because it'll keep you on your toes. And yeah, those are sort of my problems with how the Volatiles work in Dying Light 2. Hopefully they change that. Like I said, they added Volatiles onto rooftops at nighttime, but you know, they just need to up the spawns, man. Okay, now let's actually talk about the Volatile design. First I'm going to start with the positives. They made the footsteps more louder in the second game, and I think that's much better when they're chasing you, and you sort of get a little bit more scared because you actually can hear them stomping right behind you. Breathing that the Volatiles do, it's a lot better. You can actually hear them like breathing heavily, and that's also more scarier. And then onto the screech, I think it's better, but I don't even think it's as much better as the footsteps were. So yeah, that's pretty much all I have for the positives about the Volatile. There's not really that many other positives. Okay, so let's talk about the negatives. First off, I think the Volatile's design, it just looks weird. Like, it's kind of like more bulkier, it's more armored, and I kind of get what they were doing. I'm pretty sure they were thinking that it like evolved and it's got all this armor, and then like the ribs are not like closed in and stuff like that. But I don't know, sometimes it just looks really weird when it's moving because it's like bigger, and I don't know, it just looks kind of wonky. And I think like changing it just takes away from the first game where it had no skin and it looked really weird, and it was much more scary in my opinion. And also there's another thing where the Volatile, it's like colorless in Dying Light 2, like it's just gray. Well, in the first game it actually had a lot of red on it, and you know, when you shine the UV it actually glows, and it doesn't do that in the second game. When you shine the UV light, they just kind of like have that weird like smoke thing coming off. And going back to it being like colorless and just gray, it's too similar to the virals, because Dying Light 2, the virals are also like all gray, and I found myself sometimes when there's a chase or whatever, and then I'm looking at a Volatile, I'm always questioning, is that a viral or is that a Volatile? And it's just kind of annoying. But that's pretty much all I have for the Dying Light 2 Volatile. I just think there's a lot of parts of it that are just inferior than the first game. And I also know there is another Volatile from Dying Light 1 that has a different design than from the base one. I think it's called the Evolved Volatile. Now, I personally like that one better than the Dying Light 2 one. I don't think it's as good as the regular Volatile, but I would rather have the Evolved Volatile from Dying Light 1 into 2 because at least it looks different from the rivals and I don't like get confused on which one is which. But yeah, that's pretty much all I had for this video. And I wanted to say, by the way, like, I don't think that the Volatile design from Dying Light 2 is like absolutely terrible, but I think compared to the other designs, it's just kind of inferior. But hey, at least it's not as bad as the original Volatile design.